Hi, I'm Ben Atkind. They call me Spuds, and you're watching Weird Music.
So here we are. We've got Ben Atkind. Ben, so glad to have you on, my man.
How are you doing?
Oh yeah, man, I'm great. I got my Disco shirt on. This is actually Katie's. Got the dolphin. We're doing good,
those guys, man. Shout out to those guys. We did a whole bunch of shows with them, a few years ago. They were like the regular band we tour with. We had some shenanigans, some good times. Fun group of guys to be on the road with for sure.
Love those guys. So for everyone out there listening, Ben here, he is this incredible drummer with Goose and Elephant Proof, known for his potato-loving antics. They call him Spuds. So, Spuds, starting this off, give me the 411 on the Spuds nickname and how this whole storyline with you and potatoes began.
I love this. This is my kind of question. Like when I'm in an interview and I get a question like this, I'm like, I'm gonna nail that one. Okay, so when I was a little kid, I was the pickiest eater ever. Like my sandwiches were like meat and bread, like no condiments. I was picky as hell. And my mom is an incredible cook, but she would cook all the time. And if I was in a picky mood and didn't want what she was making, then that was fine. But I had to make my own dinner, and I did not know how to cook, and I was lazy. But I knew if I could take a fat russet potato, put it in the microwave till it's nice and soft, and then put a bunch of butter and a bunch of cheese and just like load it up. I loved that. And I like definitely was, a little bit pudgier back in the day and ate a lot of potatoes with a lot of butter and cheese. It wasn't the healthiest thing, but it was my comfort food. And so years later, it's just like, I don't know, it's my favorite thing. I eat potatoes in like some form at least once every day, usually more. I now on the road, we have on a rider, I'll get like russets and Parmesan and butter and like be like, after a show on the bus, microwaving a baked potato, and everyone will like walk on, they'll like smell right away that, I'm doing my thing. But yeah, I mean, potatoes are amazing. They're a superfood. You can use them in so many different ways. And the sweet potato russet thing, I like them both. If I had to pick one, I would go with russets because I use those in a lot more ways. But I love me a nice sweet potato. Like I'll switch it up. I don't have them as often, but I'm not gonna shun the sweet potato just because it's not quite as awesome as the russet.
I'd try to keep this podcast non-controversial. Yes, sweet potatoes, they take a little longer to cook. It's worth it. I digress. Ben, moving over to a topic slightly less serious.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about some of the specific ways the other guys in Goose over time have caused you to become a better musician?
Yeah, that's a great question. Each of the guys have kind of pushed me in a different way musically. And it really comes from what their background and influences are. I guess I'll just kind of go around the table. Like Trevor, he's got this whole, he like, grew up on Fish and the Dead and all those jam bands, but he's got this whole like psytrance, like DJ side of him. And one big thing that goes along with that style of music is patience and slow building. And so playing with him, I've like definitely seen a lot of those influences in his playing, and it definitely like pushes me to try to get on that side of things and get into that mind space, because it's a different headspace, that kind of music. It's not, it's not like your jam that's kind of flowing up and down, has this whole story. It's like it very much like a nice slow build and, gets you feeling all these sort of different ways from that build. So I think that's a cool thing from Trevor. Rick, me and him, we kind of have always kind of spoken the same language musically. I think like what each one of us does when we're playing well and we're playing what we feel like we're intending on playing and the music is flowing, I feel like both of us kind of have a pretty good understanding of what the other one is doing, kind of think a lot in the same way. So that being said, he's got this whole other influence, this whole like Bon Iver, Alt J side of things, which is really like not my bag at all. And I've learned like a great respect for like just this, just whole different style of drumming that goes along with that kind of music. It's there's like just like a lot of heavy reverb and like big toms and just stylistically things that are, you know, not the natural patterns that I would go to do. So he's got me listening to some of that stuff, and I've definitely taken some of those influences there. Peter, I mean, Peter influences me. Like, he makes me want to have fun when I play. And not to take away from him, like, musically, but that just jumped out at me, like, in you know, a first reaction to the question when I think about it. Like, he's up there just having a blast, and he reminds me that, like, what we're doing is fun, and to have fun and do that. On top of that, his what really gets me that he does is I mean, melodically, it's amazing what he does, but rhythmically, he has such a strong sense of rhythm, and his like comping patterns and just these rhythmic motifs that he gets into are so strong. And when I hear him going into that stuff, it like directly, you know, results in me changing it up or locking into that. Yeah, and then Jeff, you know, the newest guy, having to play with a percussionist and, you know, another drummer, it's a lot to get used to. But what's cool about that is I think we're totally opposite style players. Like, Jeff is the guy who can go lay that perfect part, and everything is going to sound and feel great, and it's just going to be perfect. And I consider myself like a busy player. I overplay, I get excited, I rush. And so learning from him, like, I'm trying to like learn how to be more tasteful, because he's really like, he's a tasteful guy. He'll kind of really only do something flashy or something away from the backbeat if it's really gonna have a cool effect, and he's able to kind of sneak these things in there. And I think it's so subtly well done that a lot of our listeners don't have any idea that he's doing it. Like, maybe they assume it's a sound coming from my kit or something, but and he's just a really tasteful player, and a lot of like the sounds and vibes he goes for on his percussion setup or his kit, I hear those, and those have like definitely sneaked in my playing more and more. Like, I mean, the two of us are just getting more on the same page. We have like now multiple times a show where we'll do like the same exact fill or same exact hit that's like not something we've done before, and like I'll look over and it'll be like a, you know, we'll laugh for a second. Yeah, so that's that.
Can you talk to me about some of the things you think you guys have done right that have caused you to mesh so well as a unit over the years in terms of group morale?
When you talk about group morale, right off the bat, I got to bring up Coach. He is morale, and he's always there. I mean, besides what he does with the gear and technically speaking for us, he's the one that, like, you know, can tell if we're feeling down, if we're tired, and like he knows what to say and how to rally people, and like he really creates like an atmosphere on the road, and that's really cool. As far as like musically within the band, I think it's really important to take constructive criticism well. We'll play and we'll workshop things, and we're all like comfortable enough with each other and with our playing that like it's kind of a round table of everyone will kind of critique and say different ideas, and like there's nothing is off limits. And if, you know, if I'm doing something that, you know, maybe I think fits, and then but someone else is like, hey, try this or this, you know, we're very open to trying things, and we'll keep trying things until, you know, collectively we agree that it's the way. And that's a really hard thing to do. A lot of musicians are really sensitive, and you get really excited about a part you might like and think it's the part, and if someone says like, nah, that's not it, then you can, you know, it's easy to be disappointed by that. So I think we all are just really on the same page with the goal musically, and that's just to, you know, have fun and put out the best music we can and just make it feel good. And as long as we keep that in mind, then we're never going to butt heads when working on the songs.
As you guys have been on the rise, can you share with me some specific lessons you've learned with other bands you've toured with that have really prepared you for this next level you're at now?
Yeah. Party at home. It's too hard on the road. Like if I behaved like I did in the early Goose days, this would not be a thing. It's just every day. It's, you know, wake up, eat food, stretch, physical therapy, get warmed up, a 2-hour sound check. That's a full rehearsal. Then, you know, have a couple hours to eat and get ready. And then it's, you know, 3 hours plus music a night. It's a lot, like physically, mentally, the whole thing is a lot. And if I was putting things into my system on top of things that, I I need just to feel good, it would be terrible. Like playing on the road hungover is the worst thing in the world, and it's really sad. I see so many bands, like, it seems so black and white, and I get being on the side of it, like, yeah, we're playing in a band, let's have fun, we're gonna see friends in different cities, let's party. I get that. I've been there. I've met a lot of amazing people from doing that, but I've also seen people that don't understand the balance, and the priority is the partying, and the music and the production slacks from that. So like I'm pretty tame on the road these days, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm pretty proud of that, because I'm able to stay productive and stay focused. And when I'm home and have time off, and that's the time to do that. So yeah, like, for real, like, I know it's fun, I get it, but save it for home, because you want to come off like a pro. If you need a couple of drinks to, let loose on stage, and you can have just, your limit, and you don't push them, and you can still be professional, to each their own. I'm not going to judge anyone. But I've just seen so many bands start, and they start gaining momentum, and then they party too much, and that's it.
So with you achieving this level of success, years and years in the making, can you talk to me at all about how that's shifted your perspective on life and on achievement?
I mean, obviously my life is very different than what it was even a few years ago. It's a lot. It's been an intense last few years, and I'm really thankful for it. That being said, like, my biggest goal in life is to play drums freely, relaxed, and have what's happening in my head come out every time I play, and have it be natural and have it be fun. And I think I could have all the success and all the money in the world, and if I'm feeling like I'm not playing how I am capable, I'm going to be upset by that. So for me, like, the music and being able to do what I do, that's number one. But I mean, everything else, like, I've gone through many years of, feeling like I didn't have control of my life, not making a lot of money in a band and really grinding and pushing. And it's really tough to live like that. So, I had always just wanted enough money to be able to live my life how I want to, and not be stressed financially, like, every time I go out for a meal or anything like that. And now that I've gotten there, it's shifted. I want to, like, help a lot of people. And I've been able to, like, donate a lot more, and just, like, be a better friend, I think. And, I don't know, it feels good to be able to be there for people, and feel like all my hard work has gotten me a place that I have control. So that's been a big change. I mean, it's after many years of being broke and stressed on the road, I'm now engaged to my best friend and the love of my life, and my band is kicking ass, and it's amazing. But I'm not going to let that change me. I'm always going to try to stay humble, and it's still a grind. I'm working harder than ever. And that's never going to stop. I think the moment you get lazy and get complacent and content, that's the moment that you stop growing. So yeah, I think that answers some of that, I think, hopefully.
If you could pick up the phone and call up young Ben and impart any of your current wisdom onto your younger self, what might you say?
When you start working out for the first time in your life in college, when you're at music school, and you're also playing drums 10 hours a day, remember to relax, because if you play for hours and hours every day, all tensed up and tense, and use your muscle, it's going to give you physical things that are not fun. So I would tell myself to relax and focus on technique and posture, because that would have saved me a whole lot of trouble. I would also tell myself to say, keep digging in. It's worth it. Because it's not an easy path, and there's many times that I almost, swayed from the path, and, like, kind of just managed to keep myself going enough to break through and get here.
I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned you've gone through some tough times with Goose, as one would expect on the road, getting stressed, whatever, and the role coach plays in kind of keeping the morale and the spirit up with you guys. And in those moments when maybe you're stressed or just worst case scenario ensues on the road, how does Team Goose come together and lift each other up?
That's a tough question. I'd say it's definitely different for everyone. For me personally, like no matter what happens, like if I'm really struggling, I'm hurting, I'm tired, there's something happening, in my personal life or whatever it may be. I mean, coach and the team are there. Everyone will kind of see if someone's having a bad time and do their best to pick everyone else up. The biggest thing for me though, and I really need to thank our fans for this, is the people in the crowd. It's when I look out and see people that are just letting go and they're free and they're having this, this escape from their stressful lives and they're just in it. Like those are the people that I look to remind me that I'm really lucky to be doing what I'm doing, and just whatever is stressing me out, just it's not important right now, and I need to have fun, and it's on me to put everything into it. And so yeah, when I see people really losing themselves in it, it's a great reminder that whatever stress I'm dealing with, it's not important in the grand scheme of things, at least in the moment.
What would you say is that original reason way back when that you loved music so much that you decided to devote your life to it?
I mean, that's a tough one to answer. I mean, I can remember being in line with my dad when I was 8 years old, waiting for my first concert snare drum. I remember just being so excited. And that actually stems from, so my first instrument was piano. I started playing in kindergarten, and I was really good for my age, but when I started drums, I loved that way more. And the reason I started drums is because I was going to this summer camp called the Charles River Creative Arts Program. It was like CRCAP. And it's this really famous camp that was like the first of its kind that's like focuses on all sorts of creative arts. And they had all these band classes, like a rock band, a jazz band, and all this stuff. And as an 8-year-old, like I signed up for all the music stuff and was playing piano, like, basic chords in these rock bands. And I saw the drummers and just fell in love with it. And that's where I met my first drum teacher, a guy named Bob Johnson, who was this just, I'm so thankful that I had him. He kind of instilled all the right principles in the way I practiced and learned drums, and kind of set me up for success there. And I actually was on the phone with him yesterday for the first time in a while, because he, I don't think has really any idea about the success of Goose. Like I had sent him our Alive and Well vinyl, and with a thank you message when we came out with that. But it felt really good to call him and basically like tell him he's coming to Boston Calling, and he'll see us there on a big stage, and get to thank him for everything. That was really cool. Yeah. Because he's such an awesome guy. He's still teaching full time, and the way he taught me was what set me up to do so well in school and later in life. Because a lot of teachers teach like, oh, you can learn this song and learn this thing. He taught everything I learned was also I was taught to read and write it. And the way he would teach, instead of just give these specific things to learn, he would kind of set you up with, here's one thing, and we're going to do all the variations to it. And by the time we're done, you're going to have the options of being able to do any, like those will all be in your bag. And teaching that way kind of just set me up to be able to be put in situations where a piece of music would be able to put in front of me and I could do it right away. And that's something that I think not a lot of people have, especially more and more. And if you can get yourself to start working on that way at a young age, it'll only help you. So I'm really, really grateful he taught me like that.
Talking more about drumming and your specific approach to music, if you could open up other musicians' eyes to a specific element of music that you feel more connected to, what might that be?
I really connect with a lot of like jazzy hip hop kind of things. That's where a lot of my influence comes from. And there's a lot of stuff that I would say I kind of sneak into Goose, either subtly or not so subtly. There's this drummer, one of my favorites now, named Yusef Days. I've been just obsessed.
Oh yeah.
And like it's all about the feel. It's like Chris Daddy Dave is another one. Chris Dave has played for like all of the biggest jazz and hip hop legends ever. He's like, I was Robert Glasper's drummer. He's a legend. These guys are all about like the feel. Like, just because you're playing the same groove, there's a million different ways these notes could line up just a little ahead or behind. There's a lot of subtleties to it. And I think that kind of thing, it has affected my playing a lot. And I try to put that in there. I don't even remember what your original question is, because I just like went into drum mode here. Did that answer it?
You answered it. Yeah. That's good. Like, talk to me more about feel though. Like, what about feel are you most intrigued by right now?
For me, the most important thing and the biggest challenge is making the simple things feel good. I think I have a pretty decent repertoire for, flashy things and different chops and technique. But playing the simple things just as relaxed and perfect as possible, like that's the biggest challenge. 'Cause I mean, once I can get to the point that, I can just lock in the groove and have it relaxed and feel good, like forever, and like never feel the need to move. Like, that's when that patience kind of is, I think, what will elevate things to the next level. And I think I've been growing a lot there, but I think there's still a long, long way to go. And I'm looking forward to, accessing some of that.
Can you talk to me about some of your favorite aspects of Goose's music?
It makes me feel good playing it. There's a lot of different like melodic and rhythmic things going on. We kind of go all over the place, and it never gets boring. It never feels monotonous or repetitious. Even like the songs that we played so many times, like your Hot Tea or Arcadia, like the hits, and we played them hundreds and hundreds of times. It's just this band, this setting, it gives you an opportunity. Like, it's not like we're some pop band playing to backing tracks and I have to play the same thing every time. If I'm like, if I'm feeling something, I can just do it. And I've never had a band or a gig before this where that's the case. It's always like, this is your part. You must play this part. That's the part. Goose, if I'm feeling something, you can explore. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think overall, like, fans appreciate that. I think they'd rather us like go for those things and, have the possibility to take them to this new place. And like, like in the jams, even some of the jams that, some of them we've gotten in the habit of, they start out kind of in a similar way, a similar vibe. Even now, some of the ones that we've done a lot like that, we'll go into it and just none of us will do what we used to do. And we'll all kind of like have this space. And then all of a sudden it's just like a totally new thing and anything could happen. So it's really exciting. I don't think the playing the music will ever get boring for me, because it can always be something different. And anyone can take it in that different direction. So you always just have to be on your toes.
I love how you say that about how you guys stay true to just the improv of the moment without like a preconceived agenda so much during those sections.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only time there is an agenda is sometimes we'll know that at the end we have to get someplace, but that's like, we're not thinking about that until we feel like we've done what we needed to do. And then it's time.
So what do you feel like are your favorite Goose songs to play right now?
Good question. When I'm really feeling on, like everything's flowing, everything's feeling good, Rosewood Heart has got to be one of my favorite ones. It's a really kind of like sneakily technical drum song. Kind of the whole time I'm playing over this 3/2 clave with my feet. So if this is my bass drum, this is my hi-hat, I'm going da 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 da. So that's underlined, that's under the whole thing. And then I'm playing some things with these hands. So there's a lot of like independence technique happening there. And then in the groove for the chorus too is another one that's like a little tricky, but I love that groove. I don't remember how I came up with it, but I remember it was one of those ones that I did, and I was like, oh, that's a keeper for sure. But also then you get into the jam, and there's just like a lot of emotion in it, a lot of dynamics and emotion, and having those two things means there's infinitely more to play off of. And I feel like, I don't know, like the song is really moving, really complex, but fun for me to play. And then the jam also, like, it just goes into this world that I think is like kind of powerful, or at least like it feels that way to me when we get into that. We're like, okay, like this is like some raw energy, and you got to like control that. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite ones. All I Need has got to be up there. Just like a really fun, funky groove, and two different jam sections. One that's just really melodic and feel good, and then the other one, which we do sometimes at the end of it, which is just like a really fast, funky cowbell groove. And anyone who knows me knows that me and funky cowbell grooves. Yeah, I'm a fan of those pretty much anytime. Yeah, those two. I'm trying to think what else. Arrow's up there. Has a part in 7 also with cowbell. So, Odd Times and cowbell are two of my favorite things. And just like the different vibes between the sections, the jam, just a lot of fun energy in that one. And then probably more I can't think of too, but those 3 off the bat come to mind.
Odd Times and cowbell with Ben. Yes. I like that. So Ben, in addition to Goose, you've got this band Elephant Proof. You want to talk about what Elephant Proof's got in store this year?
Oh man, I would love to. We just had a 3-day run this past weekend, which was the longest run. I mean, we had one show opening for Pigeons at the House of Blues like a month ago, which was awesome. Shout out to Pigeons, love those guys. And then we played. Actually, I didn't mean to, but I'm wearing the Lock and Farm shirt. Elephant Proof played the late night there. But this 3-night run was the first run that we've had with this band in like 8 years. So we did a Relics live stream like in studio Thursday night, and I'm pretty sure that the stream is still up like on their Twitch, or I'm sure if you look through the Relics social media or website or whatever, you'll be able to find it on there. And then Friday we went to Putnam Place in Saratoga, New York, and played there, and we had Annie in the Water open up, and that was awesome. I hadn't seen those guys in years. They really impressed me. Matt Richards, who's a good friend, I know him from years of touring in Formula 5, is playing in that band, and they sounded awesome. It was a great night of music. And then Saturday, we played our CT local show at Park City Music Hall, and the band Jed opened, and Jed is made up with Jeff Arevalo from Goose is on drum set for that, with some other local guys, and it was a blast, right? We had really 3 great nights of music. And it was really cool to see this band that I haven't played with, in so long, and all these people that know me from Goose, but most of them didn't know a thing about Elephant Proof and just kind of came, and people got down. It was a party. It was like, musically speaking, I don't think it could have gotten any better. I'm so pumped about it. We had such a fun time, like seeing people rage, and for me, it's a totally different kind of music than Goose, so it kind of scratches a different itch. It's very tight arrangements, tight hits, really technical stuff. But we kind of flow through a lot of different styles, between like dancey, floor on the floor, electronic stuff, to like weird, dark things, and then like funk and everything in between. And we're known for kind of our wild transitions. Like we'll build our sets in a lot of ways like a DJ set. So the songs will kind of like flow together, and a lot of times there'll be like one song, and then there'll be like a mashup of the 2 songs, and then it'll go on to the next song. So it's been a lot of fun, like just having this totally different product musically. And yeah, the crowds, people got down. It was a party, and I cannot wait to have more shows with this band. And now the only other 2 things we have right now on the calendar are coming up, 2 festivals in September. And, having this gap, I'm going to be busy with Goose, but having the gap also means we're going to have plenty of time to rehearse, get a bunch of new songs, and like just only get tighter and tighter. So we're playing, I think it's like the 7th or the 8th, we're going to be at a festival called LawnCon. Really pumped about that one. I'm also playing with like a side project there with like Ryan Dempsey from Twiddle, and some people from Dogs in a Pile, and I forget who else, but a badass band like people put together. Elephant Proof has 2 sets at Resonance, which I am fucking pumped about. I am that festival. like shout out to Casey and all the guys from Essential Productions. Like these guys, for those of you who don't know Essential Productions, it's like three best friends who are just awesome people and know what they're doing. And back in the day, like a lot of Goose's success is really owed to those guys. They booked us, our first two Octave shows, our RIP Octave, a venue that is not there, in Covington, Kentucky. And we booked these shows not knowing anyone in Covington, but it was just on our way out for a first run in Colorado. And we had, I think, just like a week and a half run in Colorado. So we had one show at Octave and then went out to Colorado and came back and had another one. They were both free shows. And they were amazing. We met some of our fans, friends now. This whole crew of people known as Flavor Town, including Lindsay Potts, who runs our street team. And these people were just so key for building everything that Goose did. They really I love these people and I'm sincerely grateful for the whole group of them. But
let's get a clap track for that.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yo, shout out.
Flavor Town. Thank you guys. Love you guys. And so after those two shows at Octave went well, Resonance was, still it was out of our reach at that time. We didn't have the, we weren't doing big enough things, but we had a really good relationship with Casey and Essential Productions, and he gave us 3 sets. I think it was 2017, I want to say, at Resonance. And we were this unknown baby band, and he gave us 3 sets, and it was awesome. It was a blast. And there we met a lot of people, and ended up getting us, was it a year or 2 later? I think it was the next year, for another 3 sets. And that time we got a main stage set. We got a late night, and it did so much for us. I mean, the festival was one of those ones that I had no complaints. Just all the music was amazing. All the people, the vibes, they do it right. And I'm excited to see the new location too, because the organization, all the people are perfect. They just need to find their home to settle in and keep it going, because it's moved around a little bit. Not because of anything they've dealt with some things that suck. And so I'm happy that they have this new location, and Goose is playing and Elephant Proof is playing, and I can't fucking wait. I mean, Elephant Proof, I don't know if I can talk about the schedule yet. Can I talk about when our set is? I don't know if I can. It's not announced, but I'll just say that if you like, shenanigans later in the night, and you like to get weird, Elephant Proof is here for you, and we're gonna get weird, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Check this description. We got Resonance ticket link for you. Much love to Essential Productions and the Resonance crew. Ben, Dripfield tour. Dripfield's coming out June 24th. Can't wait for this. Talk to me about your favorite songs off this album.
I mean, this was the coolest recording experience I've ever had. It was one of those studios that you walk in and there's just a vibe right away. And the engineer, Dan James Goodwin, is just, he's a genius. And he was all about kind of getting us to see things from a different perspective. So a lot of these songs that, people have heard a lot, we did them in totally different ways. For example, Arrow was just released, came out last night. It's a totally different vibe, a totally different song. It's got this kind of dancey jungle groove, or an Afrobeat groove is actually what it is. And it's totally different. And a lot of the songs we kind of took a totally different vibe on and opened up these new spaces. That's not to say that we changed the essence of them, but some of them had different feelings to them. Dripfield, I love just because, the way that song came up, it was so organic. It was in a rehearsal, and Peter started doing this arpeggiator loop, and I started playing this tribal tom beat, and then the whole thing just built off of that. So getting to go in the studio and put that together, that was really fun, because you hear the drums in that song. There's a lot of cool patterns. It's just locking all those down and then hearing them back, how powerful everything sounded. Going into the control room and hearing what you just played with this epic tom beat, but then in these super expensive speakers, it was really cool. Also, I gotta say Hunger Sight too. Just really fun to play. I think that one for me, it just felt like it had such a good balance of like the vibe that our fans will connect to, but also kind of like a fresher sound for us. I don't know. I just, it's a fun song to play. It's a feel good song. It's a pretty I'm not being calm and sitting back. Like I'm being pretty intense and on top of it. And there's a lot of energy in it.
I love Hunger Sight. I love that music video. Shout out to Karina. That was a grand slam.
She killed that. That came together so quick too. I got reached out to that. Karina had come up with this idea and found a director, and all this was going forward, and it was, I thought it was great. Shout out to Chris Reed also for acting the hell out of that. And Bruce just for like looking angry and stressed in a suit, which is just funny for anyone to see.
Shout out to Bruce. General shout out to Bruce. Ben, you want to give some well-deserved shout outs right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to go to the crew, the team we have on the road with us. Just kicks so much ass. We got John, we got Marta, we got Danny, we got Sam, we got Naveed. That first Sam was Sam Burdani. The second Sam is Sam King, our tour manager. Like those people, and then also our other managers, Dave DeCiani and Ben Baruch and 1111, and just all the doors they've opened, and all the effort they put in, really like going to bat for us is really key. But our crew, like we're so lucky. Like most bands have these hired industry people, and that's great, that's cool. But we've gotten really lucky that we've kind of met everyone early on, and we're at the same page with like when we met Getty, which Getty is a package deal. It's Getty and Marta, brother and sister, and their best friend Danny. They are just such a professional group of people, and they were kind of at a similar level we were when we first met, where it was we were getting out there, professional doing it, but still had a lot to learn at a much smaller step. And we kind of joined forces and have kind of just teamed up and learned together through this process. So the result of that is a crew that is more than crew, they're family. And then Sam Burdani, I met him, we were both living in the same area in Connecticut, and I met him when Goose opened for the new Master Sounds at Fairfield Theater Company. And I met him, and we started hanging out for like a couple of years, and plotting that when Goose has the money to afford a touring sound guy, that he would be the guy. And then he was the guy, and he stepped up and crushes. And it's just really cool that everyone from audio, lights, production, the tech, merch, tour managing, every one of these people just absolutely kills it. And without them, we would not have the level of success that we've had, for sure. I have to give a shout out to my fiance and all the other partners and the family of the band and crew, because they're there for us. They're patient and they're understanding, and it's not easy to do life with someone who has such a unique and all over the place job. So shout out to the people that are there for us. And
huge shout out to the team, all the managers, the crew. It's like talking from I'm not in the Goose camp, although my spirit.
You're an honorary member. Anything you want to be in the Goose camp.
I want to say this, being a promoter in the jam scene in a small club for a few years, you see just the extreme struggle and how tight the finances are for an up and coming touring band. And some bands get a lot of momentum, at certain points. To see the way you guys just completely broke the door down after years of grinding, it gives so much hope, to who's going to be the next band to do this. It's very possible. You've shown that. And that's just fucking awesome. And the management, the crew play such a big part in that, inspirational example that is Goose for other independent musicians. So Ben, starting to wrap up here, for all the Goose fans out there who've listened this far, any direct message you want to send to them?
I fucking love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot of music out there. I don't think I'm the best musician. You guys give us our time. You guys listen to us. You guys support us. You guys make us feel good, and we could not do it without you. And yeah, for real, thank you guys so much. And keep coming out. Check out Elephant Proof because that band kicks ass. I promise you. And I love you guys. And be good to yourselves and everyone else. Yeah.
Check out that Elephant Proof Dripfield tour, the album out June 24th. We'll see you at Legend Valley. We're going to have a link here to grab those Goose tickets. Man, Ben, so glad to have you here.
Dude, thank you so much, Cam. Much love. Always awesome talking to you, and can't wait to catch up in person in Legend Valley.
Much love, man.
Well, if you made it this far, thank you for tuning in. Big shout out to our sponsor, Thrax. Check them out if you're looking for some incredibly high quality CBD and THC gummies. Also, big shout out to J&J Distribution. Retailers, check out their brands Kush Burst, Death by Gummy Bears, and Compassionate Buds. Also, big shout out to SEM Tickets. If you're throwing events and you're looking for a reliable ticketing source that's well priced, look no further. Got links in the description. Much love, y'all.